When the Israelis started building their security wall, they confirmed in raw concrete and razor wire the separation of the Arabs in Israel from the Palestinians in the occupied territories. But paradoxically, despite the crude facts of the wall and the brutal occupation it represents, the two peoples who were split apart 60 years ago by the creation of Israel are in fact growing closer together. And one of the most important factors that is creating this increasing sense of a common heritage, even a common destiny, is Islam. For this episode of God's Business, I've decided to get in close to one of the key players involved in this dramatic process, the Islamic movement, an Israel-based organization that expresses itself through faith, culture, and politics. One of its leaders is Sheikh Kamal al-Khatib.
The
Israelis thought that we, the Palestinians of the interior, had forgotten our Muslim identity. They were shocked to discover that, thank God, we're proud to be Muslims, Arabs and Palestinians. This is why the Israelis see us as a thorn in their throats, and we're very proud that we are indeed so.
Within a few hours of arriving in Israel, I come across a good example of the Islamic movement in action, when I encounter an incident by the side of a highway. Israeli police are in dispute with members of the Knesset, Israel's parliament, and other political leaders, all representatives of Israel's Arab community. Their disagreement, conducted in Arabic, is over the precise location of a protest they are holding against the Israeli government. Eventually, the Arab politicians are forced as far away from the public eye as possible. But at least the media are here to witness their demonstration. The Islamic movement in Israel has called this demonstration outside the prison where 60 members of the ruling Palestinian party Hamas have been held. And it's not just the Islamic movement that is represented here today. Members of the Knesset and leaders of all Palestinian groups in Israel are here, showing the solidarity of the Palestinian communities on both sides of the divide. Are you optimistic, Sheikh Kamal, that the elected representatives from Hamas will be released?
It looks to me that Israel no longer understands diplomatic dialogue. Eventually, Israel will have to accept the release of these hostages through an exchange of prisoners.
Ibrahim Sarsour represents the Islamic movement in the Knesset. So why is a member of the Israeli parliament expressing his support for members of the Palestinian governing party, Hamas?
I do not support Hamas specifically. I support the Palestinian people in their demand to have their own free, independent country within the borders of 1967 war. This is what I represent, and this is our Islamic movement position towards what's going on.
The protesters are joined by family members of one of the Hamas politicians. And immediately after the demonstration, Ibrahim Sarsour heads to Jerusalem to visit some of the other families. His first destination is the home of Khalid Abu Arafah, the Minister for Jerusalem Affairs in the Hamas government. The minister, along with other detainees, is accused by the Israelis of belonging to a terrorist organization. Despite the fact that the family are still in shock from the pre-dawn raid in which their father was taken by the Israeli army, the rituals of hospitality must still be observed. But this is, of course, an occasion for political rituals too. Ibrahim Sarsour describes the arrest of elected politicians as an act of war against the Palestinians and encourages the family to pray to God for help. The family of the minister thanked their visitor for this show of support in a fusion of personal gratitude and political rhetoric.
The Islamic movement has always taken a courageous and honourable stand towards our people. We've taken heart from this, that the people from inside Israel should be so steadfast.
the sons of the arrested Minister Lacan, with no idea when they will next see their father and with the memory clear in their minds of the night this room was filled with troops.
I understand that you haven't actually heard from your husband since he was taken away, so you know no idea where he is even.
Oh. They forbid the lawyer also to see
really?
him. They also forbid anyone to see him or talk to him or have any phone.
It is inevitable that Jerusalem should be the focal point of so much of the shared interest between the Palestinians of the occupied territories and the Palestinians of Israel, which both parties refer to as the interior. For the overwhelming majority of Palestinians who are Muslims, the Al-Aqsa complex, with the Dome of the Rock at its centre, is one of the holiest sites on earth. But, of course, the mosque is built on the holiest of all places in Judaism, the Temple Mount, the site of the Second Temple that was destroyed almost 2,000 years ago by the Roman Empire. Some Jews advocate that all the Islamic buildings should be removed so that a new temple can be built. Sheikh Kamal al-Khatib is a leading figure in the Islamic movement's campaign to protect the Al-Aqsa complex from any kind of threat.
لكن أنا لما آتي إلى المسجد الأقصى المبارك آتي بدافع ديني أولاً وأخيراً.
When I come to the holy Al-Aqsa Mosque, I come for purely religious reasons. But that religious incentive translates itself into a patriotic incentive by confirming our right to this land. We believe that one prayer in Al-Aqsa is equal to 500 prayers. So we come here to be God's garrison.
My next encounter with Sheikh Kamal is before dawn, in his hometown in Galilee, the part of northern Israel where many Palestinians are concentrated. After this gentle and reflective start to the day, Sheikh Kamal will supervise an event that gathers together Palestinians from all over Israel.
It's just after 4:30 in the morning. Dawn prayers in the Galilee town of Kfar Kana. Preparation for a shopping trip to Jerusalem. But this is no ordinary shopping trip because this is full of religious and political significance.
On most weekends, a couple of busloads of people leave Kfar Kana and head some 3 hours south to Jerusalem, joining up with as many as 100 other buses on the way. Their destination? Al-Aqsa.
Madam, can you tell me why you and all your friends are going to Jerusalem today? Why are you going?
We go every Sunday, all the women. Our spirit, our religion, and our devotion is Al-Aqsa.
I've heard that for Muslims living in East Jerusalem, it's very hard for them to go and pray at Al-Aqsa Mosque, and that therefore it's important that other people come in to pray there, to make sure the mosque is still used and loved.
Exactly. This is our primary objective. There can't be a vacuum, because the religious Jews will then exploit it. They're just waiting for something like that to happen, so that they can storm Al-Aqsa.
We're just approaching Jerusalem at an Israeli checkpoint. Of course, all the people on this bus are Israeli citizens. There was very noticeably a sense of tension on the bus as we approached the checkpoint. There were many other people, residents of the West Bank, who were stopped and being searched. And that could easily have happened to the people on this bus and to have their ID cards checked. Fortunately, we were allowed to go through with it.
Being an Israeli citizen doesn't necessarily protect you from harassment. Sometimes these buses are held up for hours and reaching Al-Aqsa becomes impossible. But for almost all the Palestinians of the occupied territories, Jerusalem has been made totally inaccessible. These bus trips are so much more than a nice day out. The hundreds of Israeli Palestinians who have come today, from Galilee in the north to the Negev desert in the south, are playing a vital role in the economic survival of the old city of Jerusalem. Adnan al-Husseini, an official at Al-Aqsa, explains.
Economic life inside the old city started to be very difficult. Jerusalem accustomed all the time to survive economically on the visitors of the mosque, especially on Friday, because all the villages around, when they come to pray, they buy things from the city. So the city is depending on those people. Now there is no more people of this kind. So the situation was very black. And this means that the people will leave to Ramallah, to Ram, outside of the borders of Jerusalem. So all these things, it's planning, you know, to have Jerusalem as a Jewish city.
This fear that the Jewish state is trying to remove Muslims and Christians from the heart of Jerusalem by strangling the economy and making life difficult for the locals may seem at first to be paranoia. But the heavy presence of border police and increasing numbers of Jewish settlers living within the city walls convinces Palestinians that this is not paranoia, but politics. The Arab citizens of Israel consider themselves to be frontline troops in a battle for economic survival.
So they started to come to visit the city, they buy things, they put the things by the entrance, they pray, and run into the buses back to their country. This makes a kind of filling the gap, really, and people were satisfied of that.